again, first graders. Since that was such a short story, I wanted to provide you two. And I forgot to tell you where this story, that last story, had come from. But that one, as well as this next one I'm going to read, comes from a book called The Keepers of the Night, Native American Stories and Nocturnal Activities for Children. It's a keeper. It's a good book. Let's see if I can pronounce this correctly. It is written by Michael J. Caduto and Joseph Bruchac. Hard to know if I'm saying those right, but I did my best. All right, this story is called How the Bat Came to Be. And it sounds like it's a fable from the Anishinaabe Eastern Woodland Tribe. Let me just see something really fast. Eastern Woodland Tribe. Looks like that would be Illinois, maybe Tennessee, Ohio kind of area. All right. Long ago, as the sun began to rise one morning, he came too close to earth and began tangled in the top branches of a tall tree. Let me go ahead and show you the story the picture before we go any further. Okay. Hold on, I have a little itch. It looks like a squirrel to me. The harder the sun tried to escape, the more he became caught. So the dawn did not come. At first, the birds and the animals did not notice. Some woke, then went back to sleep thinking that they had been mistaken and it was not yet time for morning. Other animals which loved the night, like the panther and the owl, were happy that it remained dark and continued to hunt. But after a while, so much time had passed that all the birds and the animals knew something was wrong. They gathered together in the dark to hold a council, like a meeting. "Sun has become lost," the eagle said. "We must search for him," said the bear. So all of the birds and animals began to look for Sun. They looked in caves, and in the deep forests, and on the mountains, and in the swampy lands, but Sun was not there. Remember, every good story has a problem. None of the birds or animals were able to find the sun. Then one of the animals, a small brown squirrel, had an idea. "Perhaps Sun is caught in a tall tree," he said. Then the small brown squirrel began to go from tree to tree, going further and further towards the east. At last, in the top of a very tall tree, he saw a glow of light. Could it be the sun? He climbed up and he saw that it was Sun. Sun's light was pale and he looked very weak. "Help me, little brother," Sun said. The small brown squirrel came closer and began to chew at the branches in which Sun was caught. The closer he came to Sun, the hotter it became. The more branches he chewed free, the brighter Sun's light grew. "I must stop now," said the small brown squirrel. "My fur is burning. It is all turning black." "Help me," said Sun. "Do not stop now." The small squirrel continued to work, but the heat of the sun was very great now, and it was even brighter. Now you could understand the picture a little bit better. There were parts of the picture I didn't notice until having read the story. Do you see the sun in the background, and do you see the squirrel chewing through the branches trying to free the sun? I don't know if I've ever read this before. "My tail is burning away," said the squirrel. "I can do no more. Help me," said Sun. "Soon I will be free." So what would you do? What would you do if you were the squirrel? Could you continue working under those circumstances? Your skin and your fur is getting hot, and your fur is scorching, and maybe he might catch on fire if he's not careful. Would you continue to help someone else? Or would you have to stop and back away? Or maybe take a break and go back to it? Let's see what he decides to do. If he puts himself first, or if he puts the sun's needs first. This will be interesting. Do you hear my chickies? So the small brown squirrel continued to chew, but the light of the sun was very bright now. "I am growing blind," said the squirrel. "I must stop." "Just a little more," said Sun. "I am almost free." Finally, the squirrel chewed free the last of the branches. As soon as he did so, Sun broke free and rose up into the sky. Dawn spread across the land, and it was day again. All over the world, the birds and the animals were happy, but the small squirrel was not happy. He was blinded by the brightness of the sun. His long tail had been burned away, and what fur he had left was now all black. His skin had stretched from the heat, and he clung there to the top branches of the tree which had held the sun, unable to move. Up in the sky, Sun looked down and saw the small squirrel. It had suffered so much to save him. Sun felt great pity, and he spoke. Now, before we listen to Sun's words, can you picture the changes in the squirrel? Can you picture the changes? His fur's been scorched. It's not brown, it's black. His skin is stretchy. Did it say that his tail was gone? No longer had a big bushy tail. What would that look like? What would this squirrel now look like? Here's what the sun said. Little brother. Oh, and he can no longer see. He's lost his sense of vision because he was blinded. Little brother, Sun said, you have helped me, and now I will give you something. Is there anything that you have always wanted? I have always wanted to fly, said the small squirrel, but I am blind now, and my tail has been burned away. Sun smiled. Little brother, he said, from now on, you will be an even better flyer than the birds. Because you came so close to me, my light will always be too bright for you. But you will see in the dark, and you will hear everything around you as you fly. From this time on, you will sleep when I rise into the sky, and when I say goodbye to the world each evening, you will wake. So no longer will he be diurnal and awake during the day, he will now be nocturnal and awake during the night. Do you know what kind of animal the squirrel has become? Then the small animal, which had been a squirrel, dropped from the branch, spread its leathery wings, and began to fly. Any ideas? He no longer missed his tail and his brown fur, and he knew that when the night came again, it would be his time. He could not look at the sun, but he held the joy of the sun in his heart. And so it was, long ago, that Sun showed his thanks to the small brown squirrel, who was a squirrel no longer, but the first of the bats. So it's almost like a creation story, but not a creation story about how the world came to be or how humans came to be, but how the bat came into existence. What do you think about that? Put that in your mind and be thinking about it, because I think I'm going to have you do a writing prompt. You could maybe tell me a story about a certain animal and how it came into existence. All right, take care, first graders. Love you all.